Well, two old friends are returning to Tech Garage. We have the HHR back. Now it needs a little TLC when it comes to the brake repair. It's driving good. We fixed the repairs before in a prior episode, but we're going to upgrade on the brakes and a hub bearing. Now our Jeep, it's rolling great, no problems at all. We just want to make sure it's going to last another 100,000 miles, so we're going to address the coolant system. You know, with a Chevrolet and a Jeep, we're living the American dream today on Tech Garage. Welcome to Tech Garage, presented by rockauto.com. Well, if this car looks familiar, that's because it is. The Heritage High Roof. Chevrolet named the HHR is back, Brian. And if you remember this car, the fender was smashed, the door, you know, had a lot of collision on that side, and the strut, suspension, brake systems. I mean, I'm no painter, but man, it looks pretty good.
It looks respectable, and I thought you could only spray paint with a spray bomb. And you know what? rockauto.com made this a little simpler in terms of our decision tree. You have to think with a car like this, high miles, pretty old, you want to spend the money to get it going back on the road, and now I think this has a lot more years of service left.
No doubt. We were a little leery, you know, we drove it around and we checked the brakes. You wanted to fix those, so Rock Auto sent us the brakes. And something else when we drove it around, I didn't really realize part of the accident I want to show you. So if you guys come with me, we'll check this out. You get started over there. Now, we didn't think about much of the impact on this side of the car, but it probably got hit so hard. I'm sure this is a result of it. And if you look at this wheel right here, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, man, that bearing's flopping around. Now, we heard that. We heard it pretty good during that test drive, so it's kind of a no-brainer to go ahead and replace it. I had one lug nut on there just to show you that, but I'm going to take this down. You can do a couple things. You can get a stethoscope. Once again, put the stethoscope on, go around here, spin the bearing, listen for noise. This one you don't have to. Or you can go down and change road surfaces as you're driving. This is pretty cool. So I'm driving along, I change road surfaces. If the noise changes, it's probably related to a tire. If it doesn't change, it's a bearing noise. Now this is pretty cool. I have to take the brakes off, the rotor, the caliper, and everything else, but it's actually got the factory clip still on here. Matter of fact, Brian's gonna take apart the brakes over there. So Brian, why don't you take it away and I'll get working on this hub.
Well, as usual, I'm one step ahead of him. We've got everything, the calipers up, out of the way. A bungee is your friend to do that. You've seen a million brake jobs here in Tech Garage, so you know what to do. But it is all about best practices while we're here. Time for a good visual inspection. The HHR's been on the road for a few weeks since we did the last major repair. And I'm checking the Zerk fittings on the tie rod end, the sway bar linkage. I'm probably going to hit them with grease before I button it all back up again, but everything looks really good. So it's going to make a big difference in how it handles once that hub bearing's done and there's new brakes on both sides. So next step is to get the caliper mounting bracket off. That's just a 13 millimeter, very simple. And get this rotor swapped out. We've got new rotor, new pads, new everything from rockauto.com. Let me get this out for you. Caliper wants to roll, we'll move it back. There's one, and there we go, there's two. There's the old rotor. Yeah, I think that was original. So we'll get the new rotor on here. You can see all of our new work still looking really good. And we'll start to get everything button back up, torque down to spec. Not hard to do, but you got to do it right. I'm excited about the test drive, and I know John is making a lot of noise over there.
Well, Brian just showed you how all the brakes come apart, so we're down to the hub, and it's just as easy. There's a couple bolts in the back. Matter of fact, 3 of them. I'm on the last one now, so I'm going to pull it out, and I can show you right here on the back of the new hub. There's 1, 2, 3. It goes right in the back with these here. Pull it off the spindle, you're good to go. Then what I did is I'm going to take an impact here. You can hold it with a breaker bar and take it off with a wrench, but this one's shot, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this one off. What I'm doing now is I'm taking the axle nut off. Got a little washer inside of here. And then what I want to do, I'll put the nut back on because I want to keep the axle in good shape, make sure I don't burr up the end of it. Give it a couple of little persuasions here, maybe just tap it so the axle's loose. You may have to tap the back of the hub. Sometimes it gets seized up in there, no problem. And there you have it. And then I pull this off like that. And ABS sensor located right here. Super important you unplug that. Keep the good part up there where you're going to need to reinstall it. Take good care of that as you pull it out. the axle, work it out. Don't pull on it, just make sure you work it out so the axle's still in there. And I got this protector shield for the ABS harness. There it is right here. The protector shield I'll put over there. Grab that washer in a minute. You can hear this one. When I spin that, that guy is shot. Now this one here, oh, smooth as ice. So what I need to do is just reverse the procedure, put it back on, get it all together. But you know what, Brian, I don't know what you're doing over there. Don't make me come over and work on those brakes.
I don't need you over here, buddy. All right, there's the inboard pad. That's good. We're making good progress. Now, look at the new pad compared to the old pads. The new pads we got from rockauto.com. Obviously a prime candidate for a brake project here. And don't forget your lube. You got to get the lube on the slides here so that you have no squeaking and squealing. The slide pins themselves have the appropriate lube up there. I got it up on the top already. Let me get some more down here in the bottom. Coat it in there. I'm pretty liberal with this stuff because nobody likes squealing brake sounds. Get that in there, that's good. No need to get it on the rotor. Let's get this pad seated. Come down, in, we're good. Solid fit. Now, got the caliper, just need to compress this caliper piston. And while I do that, you can see obviously that the caliper mounting bracket is back in place and torqued down to spec. And you know, John won't let us do any brake jobs and caliper mounting brackets without Loctite. So we've got that in place as well. This is now just about fully compressed. All right, setting that caliper piston back in. Again, just looking for any kind of visual damage along the way here. This all looks like it's in pretty good shape. Right tool for the job makes a big, big difference. Bring it down around. There's the shims on the new pads. Slide it in place. Slide pins back. We get these mounting bolts in. Also going to get these torqued to spec and get this whole thing buttoned back up. Don't forget, I'm hitting these Zerk fittings with grease, and this thing's ready for a road test very, very soon. Tell you what, we're jeeping in the next segment. Stay with us here in Tech Garage, brought to you by rockauto.com.
Tech Garage, presented by rockauto.com, is brought to you by Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Mobile Environmental Solutions, the leading portable mobile paint booth. And by rockauto.com, all the parts your car will ever need.
Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by rockauto.com. Well, we got our old friend, the Jeep YJ, back in the shop. Man, it's looking good. It's running good. And if you remember the Jeep, well, there was a lot going on. I mean, this thing got burnt to the ground out there inside of the road fire. You can see the wire harness here. I mean, it was a mess. So we went ahead and replaced that. Carburetor burnt up. We upgraded the distributor, which we needed to. It was all burnt up as well. And also, here's your birthday cake, Brian.
Happy
I mean, you remember
birthday
that?
to me.
Holy mackerel.
I tell you what, brother, from the arson investigation to a total transformation, it's almost night and day. And you know, the wire looms, the entire wiring harness, new carburetor, you've got that dialed in really, really well. Everything is routed out of the way of heat and moving parts, and I tell you what, the thing's even running pretty well.
You know, and like every car, we ship it out of here. You know, Matt, our IT guy, he come and got it, loaded up his family. He's living the American dream. He took it for a ride. Man, they had a ball. They're driving around. But I told him, bring it back. Let's go through it one more time. And it's not overheating, but remember we were going to address that radiator?
Yeah.
Let's get at it.
Yeah, we promised this radiator deal. It's going to seal the deal on this transformation. You know, we're starting from the inside out on this guy. This thing has so much potential. You can see on the body. And I think he'll get there, but the cooling system is kind of the icing on this project. If we just set this shroud back and out of the way.
And it's pretty easy. We already got the radiator, the lower hose disconnected. I mean, it's a simple radiator job. I mean, you got your top loose. We drained the coolant down to the bottom so we didn't make a big old mess.
Yep.
And there's what, 3 bolts on each side?
3 bolts on either side, just 10 millimeter, very simple. And I'll leave that bottom bolt in so we pull this out kind of at the same time without dropping it. And of course, you'll see in a second when you're putting in the new radiator, you got to keep that cardboard there for protection.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we decided that the car has you know, good drivability. It's running real good and it's working real good. We don't want to dump a ton of money into it till we know it was going to be sound. I mean, we didn't even know if the motor was going to be sound and not knocking or having any problems. So
Right.
now that we know that, we're in pretty good shape. There, it feels like
We're
it just
good.
flopped down there.
Yep, you should be good. You want to try to get
Yep.
this upper hose off.
There you go.
You got the clamp loose.
All right.
Try to
He's
come
gonna
up.
Come right out of there. Look at that. There's nothing to
Yep.
it. I got the old cap. We're going to replace the cap. Man, the thermostat, anytime
got
we do
it.
a radiator.
Part of
I'll
this
set
tank
that
is
over
still
here.
Let
Brian,
me
you
get
got
this.
the new one?
Well, let me get this piece out. This part of the tank stayed on.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, we got a new cap right here, and we always, anytime you do a coolant job, please just go ahead, put a new thermostat. This is an intricate part of the system. This is what regulates the coolant going into the block and out of the block. And when you got that much debris in a radiator, you might as well just go replace that as well. We may even throw a water pump on there in the future. We want to make sure this thing's going to be good. It was good. It's running good. Now it's going to be even that much better.
Well, and if you needed any additional evidence that this radiator needed replaced, here's the sidewall.
Yeah, that's part of it. Comes with the whole system.
Absolutely.
RockAuto.com. They sent us a whole new radiator.
Wow. All right, well, let me grab the new radiator here. Notice we've got cardboard to protect those inside fins.
Man, I love that
Slide
trick.
it right
Brian, let me
down
get
in.
my cap off so I'm not fighting it on
There
the
you
bottom
go.
down there. We kept it
All
nice
the
and
hoses
clean.
out of the way.
Nice and easy.
Down in like
slow,
surgery.
Slow, slow, slow. Yeah, we don't want to ding up any of those fins.
Shroud's clear on the bottom.
Look at that. Man, I'm right there.
All right, let's get these top bolts in and hang it so it's stable.
I mean, this is an important job. We're actually transferring the heat from inside the block outside here to the outside air. I mean, you know, you have to keep this engine cool, no doubt about it. It's a great engine. It's not inherently hot. It doesn't run hot. These things are pretty bulletproof, but boy, this is going to make all the difference in the world. Now that we have our Jeep running good, why not make sure it's cooling well as well?
Absolutely, and we're going to get this topped off with the perfect, appropriate coolant for this. Make sure, yep, rotate that around, perfect. And make sure this guy, I'll tell you what, from the inside out, I'm feeling good about it. It's going to be a great restoration project for Matt. And, you know, obviously the outside needs a little TLC. We'll get there, but it's running like a champ, and it's a Jeep.
Can't beat that. I know you're a Jeep guy, and I mean, it's awesome to be able to drive a Jeep, get out there, you see the tops off of it, the doors are off. It's going to go great, man. This is awesome.
Yep.
Well, we'll get this thing wrapped up. We'll get it topped off with coolant. We'll go ahead and run it. We'll cycle it a couple times, make sure the thermostats open up. Man, we'll go on a little drive, make sure it's good, give it back to Matt, but you stick around. We're going to go to Garage Ed. There's plenty more Tech Garage presented by RockAuto.com.
Probably got to get it muddy first.
Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Now the Garage Ed segment, the real deal. It's time to diagnose a car. We got a problem. The window won't go up or down, and unfortunately, it's in the down position. It's going to rain, not a good thing. Let's go ahead and diagnose this one. What's the first thing we do? Pull a schematic. Let's understand strategy-based diagnosis and what it looks like, and look at it on the graphic here. Let's just start at the top at the circuit breaker. We'll just work our way down, and if we follow the light blue wire down, we're going to that big switch assembly. That's the master switch assembly. That's actually on the driver's side, and if you go through the driver's switch, you keep going down, it goes completely through the passenger window, and then it goes down to the motor. It's cool because it's a bi-directional motor. It either goes up or down, or it's going to go the other way. It's going to switch polarities. Now here's the deal. We're dealing with, if we go back up to the top of the schematic, we're just really dealing with that pink wire. So let's follow that pink wire over to the right, come all the way down, and we go to that switch. Then what we do is the passenger wants to run it, then it's allowed to go back through that motor, through the master switch to ground. Well, with that said, we got some complex diagnosing to do. I'm going to need Tom over here to give me a hand. Tom, why don't you come on over here and you can run the meter for us. We're going to open up this switch and we're going to start looking at what's going on here. So if I just pop this off, and anytime you pop a door panel off, just do it kind of gingerly and get that off of there. It's really no big deal on this one. Here's our actual switch, Tom. Got the color wire schematic matching everything we're matching. You got the meter in hand. So the first thing we want to do is really just check power. So I'm going to find the power to that pink wire. We want to make sure we have power to the pink wire. I already verified the customer's concern. So I'm going to the pink wire, and I think I can complete ground right there, and I do. So we got 12.31 on that meter. What does that tell us? Well, that tells us that we actually have voltage coming to this switch. Now I'm running the switch and nothing's happening. So if I run the switch and I go across those other two wires, we should have a positive and a negative 12 volts. So I'm going to try to stick it in right there. Tom, you use your other hand and give me a hand, hold that for me right there. Perfect. I'm going to run the switch, 0 and 0. What is that telling me? Well, it's telling me the switch isn't working. I'm not getting any power through the switch whatsoever. So I'm going to put the meter down here. Tom, a couple of parts at Rock Auto, man. Why don't you tell us about a couple of parts on the table? I'll pull the switch out.
Looks like you got a replacement power window motor and a replacement switch ready to go.
So we're ready to go, aren't we? Nice thing is you can go in there, you can order the parts, you know. Hey, window motor may fail eventually. At least we got it in stock here at Tech Garage, but you guys definitely treat us well. We got the parts. All right, cool. Now I got the switch out. You guys can take a look at it. It's pretty simple. 2 little screws holding it in. Now here's my switch assembly. Like I said, I was rocking it back and forth, nothing's happening. I'll pop it out of there, go over to our rockauto.com storeroom, which we got both. I didn't know if it was going to be the window motor, so that's a backup plan, all right? But hey, it's good to have over here at the garage. All right, I'm going to plug this in. And when I plug this in here, watch your meter, let's see. Oh, look at that, it's working. So we fixed our problem, but the cool part is if I show you how we fixed the problem, I said it was supposed to have a positive and a negative 12. If it did, then we'd have to go down to that window motor and we'd have to check it there. So I'm going to go across it here on the 2 up and down motors. If you hold that meter still, we should develop there's our positive 10, and going down it switches polarity to a negative 10. So that's pretty cool. That would tell us the window motor's bad. Tom, been an awesome trooper, man, an awesome helper. It's been a long season of electrical checks. We got our Mustang fixed. We did a lot of things here, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. RockAuto.com is a great source if you're buying parts, but just getting prepared for a project. We have the info button. You can click that. A lot of manufacturers have provided us with installation instructions. You can read those, do your research before you even start the project.
Yeah, make sure you go there. I've learned a lot too. It's been an awesome Garage Ed segment throughout the season. Tom, you also been a trooper, so I got you 2 things, man. You can't leave here without the old Garage Ed t-shirt. Gotta have that, man.
Thank you.
And more importantly, I know you better than this, man. Remember segment 3, the parallel lights and the Christmas lights? Yeah, I went and takes one out. They're all lit. Right here it says lit and parallel. Please don't spend an hour at Christmas no more. You got lights in parallel. It's definitely been a great season. I'll tell you what, next season, I think maybe engine performance is in order. I mean, all the sensors on the engine, man, we could do some great stuff with that as well. So maybe check that out for next season. Anyway, there's still more Tech Garage presented by rockauto.com. Right after this commercial break, we're going to take the video question of the week.
Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com, is brought to you by Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. Zumbrota Drivetrain, remanufacturing redefined. And by RockAuto.com, all the parts your car will ever need.
Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by rockauto.com. Now keep them coming. We love the video question of the week.
Lance has one of those questions asked by thousands of people every day.
Hey John and Brian, I was looking at my maintenance schedule and it seems like every time I turn around I'm having to do something else to my truck. Do you think I should skip a few or should I just go ahead and do all as scheduled in the maintenance manual?
Lance, I'm feeling you, man. If you pull up this graphic, I can see check marks all over this thing, whether it's just rotating tires or whether it's an air cleaner, spark plugs, transfer case, draining fluid, check your brakes. Holy mackerel, there's check marks all over, but you know, those things are important, Brian.
We are proud of you for prioritizing what are you going to do and asking the question, but here's the reality. In the world of engineering, we call it asset performance management. That means you want to get maximum performance over the life and ownership you've got of the vehicle. You can't ignore these things. These are not run to failure assets. There are failure modes. There are risks you want to mitigate in the ownership. I'll tell you what you can do though. The cost of ownership, you can influence it a lot by doing things like keeping proper tire pressure in all 4 corners of the vehicle, better fuel economy, keep a clean air filter. Yeah. That's relatively cheap. The money you save in the cost of ownership should help you feed that maintenance schedule.
Absolutely. And you know, here at Tech Garage, we do maintenance religiously. I mean, we go through and we open up these engines, they're clean as a whistle. I mean, there's a lot of problems inherent inherent problems, TSB, technical service bulletins you need to address, safety recalls for sure, but sticking to that manual sure helps when it comes on that later end when you start some of these repairs.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, the Jeep and the HHR made a grand
love
appearance,
those.
man. It's nice to
Yeah.
get some finality with those two cars.
Yeah, who doesn't love a properly running Jeep? That thing is going off-road. I can just see it in the future. The family loved it. That was awesome. Every kid loves a backseat of a Jeep, man.
No doubt about it. Brian, it's been a great season, man.
Heck yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to do what I love best is go spend some time with the family. But you guys, we're going to be pumping out some more stuff out there, whether it's fan questions, video questions, little snippets of the show. Yeah, keep it coming. We'll keep it going for you. Hey, we just want to thank Chipola College for the awesome production facility, our awesome crew, rockauto.com. We can't do it without you, man. And most importantly, the viewers. Thanks for watching. But we'll be back next season with more Tech Garage brought to you by rockauto.com.
Wrench up.
Production assistance for Tech Garage is provided by Chipola College, located in Marianna, Florida. Founded in 1947, Chipola was ranked recently as one of the top 3 community colleges in the United States.